Seems like it's also a matter of improvising. I mean, it's not that you have a preset of tracks, samples and whatever, or partially that's true, but only partially.
No, it's the case. I mean, I have a collection of samples I'm pulling from, but it's only in little micro bits. And when I say all these different genres, it's just they're all intentions, they're all ideas. You know, any genre, it's all the same thing. It's all just sine waves and kick drums and percussion. It just, wherever you put them will change the idea. And so the idea then, for me, is to try them all and see what clicks with the audience. And maybe these kids tonight, they're gonna like hardcore. I don't know. I like to stay open-minded.
One of the very interesting things of the monome and the way you use the monome is the fact that the crowd can see what's happening on stage. Was it just, did you already know when you started to use this instrument that this was going to be the way it's going to be used?
You know, it's funny actually, when I originally first started using it, I was using a prototype and it was a little bit ungainly. It was a little bit larger and it was very much taped together and with glue and it really was kind of homemade. And so tilting it forward wasn't an option. Showing it to the audience really didn't make as much sense because of the way it was constructed. But over time, I realized that by myself playing it just so I could see it and the audience couldn't, they thought I was cheating. They thought I was DJing, or they thought I was doing all these funny, like,
checking emails.
Exactly, playing Tetris, you know, whatever it was. And the case was, of course, that it was really through composed. And so at one random concert in Paris, tilted it forward, and that connection with the audience was something that really made an impact for me, and then the dialogue has just gotten better since.
How is your music evolving? I mean, considering that your stuff is filled with so many samples, it's so complex at the same time, maybe it's hard to find every time new ideas, release new records and create new tracks.
Well, very fortunately, I feel like the world of sound is ever-ending, you know, and like you never have to stop finding new sources of inspiration. But I do think that the listeners don't necessarily have as much time to go into the backstory. I do like the idea, though, that each record is an idea. And then once you finish with that idea, you're free to go to somewhere else. You don't have to repeat yourself so much. I think people who are listening are smart enough to know that that record is that record and the new record is something else. And so I do have a lot of different sounds, and the place I've been going to lately is a little bit more of a tempo, a little bit more of a party. As I've grown up into this sound and playing more up-tempo nights and maybe more like midnight to 3 a.m. kind of slots where kids want to fall into some trouble and the, you know, putting back a few and whatever it is. I just want to make sure I make that soundtrack for those moments sometimes. So that, and then also on the other side, I'm making records that are extremely thematic and very slow. So it's both.